The United States is in a state of heightened alert following an unprecedented national address from the White House. President Donald Trump, in a brief but solemn statement, declared a formal state of emergency. The specific nature of this emergency remains officially undefined, though the declaration invokes broad executive powers related to national security. Markets reacted instantaneously, with sharp downturns observed in pre-market trading. Sir. Presidential address was notably light on detail, citing a need for operational security and promising further information would be disseminated through official channels in the coming hours. This deliberate ambiguity has created a vacuum, rapidly filled with speculation and anxiety across the political spectrum. The declaration grants the executive branch significant authority, including the potential to mobilize National Guard units, redirect federal funds, and impose restrictions on movement and assembly, powers that are now the subject of intense scrutiny and debate. In the wake of this announcement, a message from Kash Patel, a former Pentagon chief of staff and a long-standing, trusted confidant of Donald Trump, has circulated through conservative media platforms and encrypted messaging services. Patel's statement, characterized as a clarion call to the president's base, urges calm, but also readiness. He frames the emergency declaration not as a cause for public panic, but as a necessary and decisive action against a nebulous and imminent threat to the republic. His language is stark, referencing the need to secure the homeland and protect the integrity of the nation's institutions. The message heavily implies that the emergency is linked to what he describes as systemic corruption and ongoing efforts to undermine the nation from within. This rhetoric is familiar, echoing themes central to the populist movement that continues to support Trump's political endeavors. The confluence of the presidential emergency declaration and Patel's directed message has created a potent and volatile political moment. Analysts are scrambling to decipher the underlying catalyst. Several theories are being advanced. The first posits a genuine, yet-to-be-revealed national security threat, perhaps related to cybersecurity, intelligence findings of a grave nature, or a critical infrastructure vulnerability. The second theory suggests a domestic political trigger, potentially a preemptive move connected to ongoing legal challenges or a strategic effort to dominate the news cycle ahead of a significant development. A third, more alarming interpretation circulating in partisan circles frames this as the initiation of a broader confrontation against so-called deep state actors, a theory long championed by Patel and others within Trump's inner circle. The official government response has been predictably fragmented. Congressional leaders from the president's party have issued statements urging unity and caution, emphasizing the need to trust the administration during a time of crisis. Opposition leaders, however, have demanded immediate transparency, calling for an emergency briefing to the Gang of Eight and questioning the constitutional legitimacy of a declaration without a publicly stated and verifiable cause. Legal challenges are being prepared, focusing on the scope and duration of the emergency powers now in effect. The streets remain calm but tense, with a palpable sense of uncertainty hanging over the capital and major cities. The media is engaged, in a frenzied attempt to verify information, with news channels providing continuous coverage, parsing every word of the president's short speech and Patel's disseminated message for clues. The role of Kash Patel is particularly significant. As a former intelligence official and a fiercely loyal advocate, he operates as a key conduit between the formal structures of power and the grassroots movement. His message serves to validate the emergency declaration for a specific audience, providing a narrative that official channels cannot. This creates a two-tiered information system, one for the general public and another, with a more pointed and ideological framing, for the president's supporters. This strategy effectively bypasses traditional media filters, ensuring the core message is received without what is perceived as hostile interpretation. It is a modern political maneuver, leveraging decentralized communication networks to solidify support and frame the conversation. The international reaction is one of deep concern. Allies are requesting urgent consultations through diplomatic back channels, seeking to understand the implications for global security and existing treaties. Adversaries are closely monitoring the situation, likely assessing American vulnerability and the potential for distraction. The declaration introduces a new element of unpredictability into an already complex global landscape. Foreign ministries worldwide are attempting to determine if this is an internal matter or if it portends a significant shift in American foreign policy or posture. The uncertainty itself is a geopolitical event, causing hesitation and recalculations in capitals across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. What happens next is entirely contingent on the administration's next move. The emergency powers, once invoked, create a new reality. The duration of this state is legally ambiguous, and oversight mechanisms are untested in such a politically charged environment. The pressure on the administration to provide a credible and detailed justification will become immense within days. If a clear and present danger is not substantiated, the political and constitutional backlash could be severe, potentially leading to a rapid escalation of institutional conflict between the executive and legislative branches. The credibility of the government is now on the line. The message from Kash Patel suggests a prolonged struggle, one that his audience is being prepared to endure. The president's declaration has set in motion a chain of events whose final outcome is unknown. The nation holds its breath, waiting for the next piece of information that will determine whether this is a moment of necessary defense or a profound constitutional crisis. The stability of the republic may hinge on the answer,